and am a Reiki Master teacher for probably about 11 years now. And I've done a lot with space clearing and energy clearing. And while I still do it occasionally with clients, some of my old clients still come back to me and I'll do on referral. I'll do sessions and things like that. For the most part, I just do web design now. But this is such a huge part of my life because it honestly was really life-changing for me to kind of step into this world. And I'll say this, as Crystal said, I'm very outspoken and I am very much a cynic. I do not believe most things a lot of times until they're proven. That's shifted and changed a lot. But, 12, 13 years ago when I first started learning about this stuff, I was like, whatever, and kind of made fun of the people who did it. So until I realized that it's not hooey, it's not garbage, and everything really is energy. I mean, this isn't woo-woo ideas. This is scientific fact. Everything is energy. It's proven. It's a matter of physics. It's not just some, novel, cute idea. And so once I embraced that and once I, recognized that and I started reading a ton. So if anybody ever wants to really nerd out, I have a million books to offer to let you guys read. But I started reading a whole ton and I started finding scientific fact proving how energy works and how energy can be utilized with our thoughts, with clearing the energy, clearing the air, supporting relationships, supporting our dreams. Pretty much everything in my life is centered around bringing in that positive vibrational energy. So I'm going to share some things with you guys. Feel free to jump in and ask questions. Like, I'm really open to making this interactive. I want you guys to feel comfortable with it. And then I have a guide that Crystal will share with you guys of just some of the stuff, kind of the highlights of stuff that I've learned over the years and that I use to do that. So the first thing we talked about, like, energy is all around us. It's in our words. It's in everything. And it really is energy clearing begins with us, within us, and so a lot of people, they want to make the world better and they focus on everybody around them. They focus on their husband and their kids and their coworkers and their parents and everything else, but they don't give focus to themselves. And when you go in, especially when you're focusing on clearing energy, if you go in with low vibrational energy, it's like mopping a floor with muddy water. That's what you're leaving behind. And so just to I have a graphic that I found that was really kind of cool. It talks about that energy frequency of emotions. And so, like, the higher the frequency, the higher vibration, the energy, the more positive it is, the better that we feel. And so, like, peace and joy and love, they're all in that 500 to 600 frequency range, whereas shame and guilt are in that 20 to 30 frequency range. So it really shows you the power of our emotions, and our thoughts drive those emotions. And that's what creates that energy that we're feeling at the time. And so really focusing on our thoughts is probably one of the best things to do. And it's easy to get caught up in those lower vibrational thoughts. And I'm a big proponent. I don't like to say negative energy so much because they have a purpose. Shame and guilt, they have a purpose. They can motivate us to make changes in our lives to create something better. So I hate to say negative because they do have a purpose, and I'm grateful that I have felt them because they've helped me make better changes. And they help me shift that energy of my thoughts. So there's what I wanted to talk about here today. And if you guys have any ideas, let me know. Is I wanted to tap into a little bit about energy clearing your mind, because that's where it starts. If you want to do any kind of positive work, you want your mind to be clear. We'll talk about energetically clearing the body, words and how powerful words are. And then music a little bit, because I'm really big on energy clearing with music, and then getting into tools and decor and stuff. We'll see how far we go. Anyway, I have a bunch of stuff to share.
Yeah.
So back to our thoughts. So our thoughts drive our emotions, and our thoughts have incredible power. And a lot of people don't realize how powerful our thoughts are. And this comes up a little bit when we talk about the words, but I wanted to show you guys something. I hope you guys can see me okay. But this is just proof. So I have this simple pendulum here, and this is just going to be proof of how much we have power over our thoughts. So in my mind right now, I'm going to ask this thing to start spinning in a circle, and you can watch my hand. It's not spinning with it. And I'm going to ask it to go bigger and faster and faster. I'm a little nervous, so it's like, I don't know. Okay, and stop. That's the power of our thoughts. I don't know. I know it seems weird and awkward, but anybody can do this. You could take your necklace off right now and you could just hold it still and tell it to move. And that is just showing you that your thoughts have serious energetic power. So
Very cool.
That. Yeah. And so by focusing on our thoughts, that's where we're going to energetically clear our mind. Now, again, like I said, it's not always easy to clear your mind. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in our families. We have people that we know and love who are struggling. We have things that we don't understand that are causing struggle within ourselves. There's a lot of reasons why our thoughts in our mind are not clear. And so there's a quick and easy energetic cleansing meditation that I do that helps me really quickly clear the mind. And when I first started doing this technique, I may have to do it like, 3 to 5 times, depending on how low vibration energy I have. Now, honestly, 1 time, and it clears my energy. And it's really super simple. If you guys want to do it with me, we can try it real quick. So you just sit, comfortable position, feet on the floor, preferably, and close your eyes. And then just allow yourself to relax as much as you can. It's not always possible, and then I want you to take a really deep breath, pulling energy from the earth through the bottoms of your feet. Breathe all the way up to your heart center, and then just release it naturally. Okay. And then I want you to breathe from the sky above through the top of your head. Breathe all the way deep again into heart center, and then just release it naturally. And now breathe one more time from the bottoms of your feet and the top of your head, bringing energy from the heaven, the earth, both to mingle together at that heart center. And then release naturally, open your eyes, and that's really it. How does that feel for you guys? Did you feel like a shift?
It felt very calming for me.
Yeah.
It almost felt like I was going into that meditative state where kind of like, it sounds weird, but it's like my tongue goes numb. My hands kind of go numb a little bit.
Yes. I was tingling.
You were tingly?
Mm-hmm. 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 See right there, those symbols are things that you both experience right there are showing that you are raising that vibration and clearing that energetic clutter from the mind. Mm. And so that's something that I do often. And you don't have to close your eyes. I've done it when I worked in my old corporate job. We were in really intense, crazy meetings. Sometimes people would be yelling and screaming at each other. And I would just sit there and I would do that breath. I didn't change posture. I didn't change position. I didn't close my eyes or breathe out heavily or anything. I just allowed myself to do those 3 breaths while everybody screamed at each other, because I didn't need to participate in that, Mm-hmm. And so I did it, and it was incredible because I could leave that meeting untouched by the animosity and stress that was in the room, whereas everybody else would carry that with them throughout the day and clutter their mind that much more. So one of the things too that I wanted to share, and this is in the guide and why I'm bringing it up, is that for me, meditation and prayer go hand in hand. I really don't do one without the other. For me, they're the exact same thing. And so when I do that meditation, there's different quick little one-line prayers sometimes that I'll say to kind of just let things go, like I release this and I am strong, or guide me to what my next best step is. Or when I had kids at home, my favorite one was, God, these are your kids too. You deal with them because I'm not. God has a sense of humor. It doesn't have to be funny. You can even just be like, dude, I'm done, but just putting it out there, saying, step forward and just release this crap within me. Get rid of this stagnant energetic energy that I'm feeling. It can have incredible power in itself. So any questions that you guys have or anything you guys want to share too? Because like I said, I'd love this to be interactive too.
When you were doing the pendulum, that's really fun. It's like a party trick. I'm like, and the hardest part is like, because you can't do that and you can't say stop and then it just stops like that, like physically. So, I mean, you have to control it with your brain, I guess. But Tori was telling me, she's like, I'm going to control my incense with and she's talking like this. I'm not with my mind. She's like, did you know that like if you stare at your incense, you can like make the smoke go straight? I'm like, you can? I haven't tried it. She's like, I did it. She's like, so she like gets really excited about stuff like that. So she made the incense go straight and then she stopped and it went in again. She's like, I was kind of like looking at it and intending like when I looked at it, it would go straight. And then when I look away, it wouldn't. So when she was playing with it, she's like, it's freaky. It's moving. No, it's not. So anyway, so yeah, so I just think it's exciting that my daughter is like discovering stuff like this and the power of her mind at such a young age, which is somewhat of an influence of mine, but she's discovered things on her own also. So
yeah. And the pendulum, the pendulum is kind of a party trick because a lot of times people would be like, you can't see as well in the video, but they're like, seriously, your hands got to be moving, and I'm like, no. And so then I've even had my husband hold the pendulum and I've still moved it while it's in his hand.
Ooh, could you do it like over video? If I had one, I wish I had one.
I don't know.
I don't have one.
I don't know. You want to try and move it yourself? No, we'll try that another time.
Move it?
Yeah. You want to see if you can move it?
Yeah, I do. Okay. Hang on.
Okay.
Let's see, y'all. Nothing's happening.
It's moving real slow or like real tiny circles.
No, I have to practice.
Okay,
sorry. Okay.
But yeah, but I mean, that just shows. And like when I first got a pendulum, it didn't move very much for me either. It was a matter of like, utilizing and trusting in myself and just playing with it. And I will say pendulums, I know kind of freak some people out because there are some really scary, freaky people out there with pendulums. Stay away from them. This is all personal use for me, 100%.
Yes.
Stay away from the scary people.
Yes.
Okay. So then the next thing though, that I want to talk about then is energetically clearing the body. And I want to talk a little bit about the body itself, because we all think of our body as just this physical thing that we can touch, but there's actually layers of energy around the body. And it's called a lot of different things like the etheric body or the luminous body, or there's a whole bunch of different names, but it's there. And we can feel that. You remember when we were children, I don't know if you guys have siblings, but you have that obnoxious sibling that is like, I'm not touching you. And it would like give you the heebie-jeebies because you would feel them touching you, even though they weren't physically touching you. It's because they were in that energetic zone in that luminous body. And so you could feel it happening, and that's the best example that I have. But there are times when somebody starts to walk up, all of a sudden you feel somebody in your space, even though they made no sound. It's because we're feeling them in that luminous body. And what the body does, this luminous body, is it is constantly interacting with the energy around us and within us. So it's interacting with the energy of our minds, and it's interacting with the energy that we experience. When you walk into a room and you're in a happy mood and somebody is like really angry and irritable, you start reacting to their energy and your vibration will decrease. And so in doing that, there's two things that I kind of find that we get is, first of all, interacting with the people around us. We get these pockets of energy where we're picking up other people's stuff. And you can really sometimes, now everybody is different and everybody will sense things differently. But if you're really good at feeling and sensing energy, you can just run your hand a few inches over your body and you can feel those energy pockets. Like as you're doing it, you can feel like a little bump in that energy field, and it's not this smooth, easy, or you'll feel an emotion all of a sudden when you're holding it over a certain area. A lot of people hold anger at the back of their knees. That's one of the anger energy centers. It ties into the meridians, and that's one of the acupressure points to help release anger and stuff. But you can feel those energy pockets. Well, you don't have to hold on to those energy pockets, and you don't have to go to a Reiki master or acupuncturist. You can clear these every single day, and you can make it part of your daily routine. And we'll talk about that here in just a second, because there's one other piece that I want to mention, and that's energy holes. And that is from those emotions with inside the body. So when we're having these really negative thoughts, we're creating these holes in our energetic field that is releasing our energy and giving it away to something that doesn't serve us. So an example just from today, I have a cruise booked for the spring or the fall, and I'm getting annoyed because I'm not getting very good support from the travel agent. They keep giving me different new travel agents, and it's a nightmare. But I was letting that really get to me. I was letting it make me depressed to the point that I was just going to cancel the whole trip, get my money back because I'm still in that time zone, or where I can, and just not have a trip to Europe. And this is one of my dreams, is to do this trip to Europe. That was created an energetic hole that was giving my energy to the people who aren't doing their job, to having a bad experience, to all the things that I don't want. And so rather than continuing going down, I took a breath, I stepped away, and then I just, again, did kind of that cleansing, clearing, and I just filled that hole and sealed it, so you can create the visual you want in your mind. For me, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to fill that hole with love and light, and then I'm going to make it stronger. I'm going to make the surface stronger so that I don't leak any more energy out to something that's not going to support me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So would you say that like empaths are more sensitive to the different vibrations?
No, I wouldn't. I would say that they feel them emotionally much more than the other people. So they're going to experience them differently, and it can be much more intense because you're feeling the emotions of that. And that's a great question, because I'll give you a trick on empaths, but everybody is going to feel and have that, and everybody's going to do it. It's how we react to things, but it's how we interpret it. But empaths feel emotions so much more deeply. So I am very empathic, and I feel what's going on, and I know things about people that I don't necessarily want to know, or at least when they're having an awful day. And so one of the things, before I learned to control it, when I would go out, like a good example is shopping on Black Friday. Buyer's remorse is like running rampant on Black Friday. People are terrified about the money they are spending, and they are swiping credit cards anyway to kind of live up to some status symbol. I mean, like, it would literally just cripple me to tears to go shopping Black Friday. And it's something my kids loved doing. We would go and find deals and have breakfast and whatever. And so one of the things that I did until I learned how to protect my energy, and you guys can't really see me, but right here is that third chakra, is I literally would cover the third chakra, because that's going to shut down that empathic center, and it's going to help you not absorb those energy until you can train yourself to remember that you are just observing, you're not absorbing. And so I used to say that as a mantra, and I talk about that a little bit in the guide, is that I am an observer, not an absorber. So as an empath, I learned to stop taking those energies on. And also to protect my own energy by closing up those energetic holes. And like I said, we can do this in our everyday self-care, we can do it in the shower. We can do it when we're putting on lotion, on moisturizer, in the bath, while you're like just relaxing in the bath, all of those things. All of that you can take to do it. So when I'm doing, when I take a shower, a lot of times I'm not just physically washing my hair, I'm energetically, doing it as well. When I use I always make sure that I buy something that feels really luxurious, the soap and the loofah or whatever I'm using, because I'm energetically clearing my skin and making it stronger when I'm doing that. So it's not like we have to add one more thing to our list of self-care. Just incorporate it into what we're already doing. So, yeah. Any other questions? That was great. Thanks, Courtney.
I don't have a question, just a comment.
when we started on the cancer journey, my Reiki person gave me this crystal
Mhm.
To help ward off, because Teresa knows me well and knows that I take on a lot of emotions. I don't always realize it, but they just kind of attach to me. And I'm still learning how to not allow all of that to attach to me. So she gave me this, and this is to help. You can tell it's been through the washer. Stuff I've left in my pocket, but it did help when I would go to Mitch's appointments and when he had his surgery and all that, to have this with me so that I wouldn't take on everyone else's pain and suffering. And
yeah, and that is, I mean, that is very true. And it will, in the guide, I talk a lot about tools that you guys can tap into and use for that stuff. And if we have time, I'll definitely talk about them here tonight. And you guys can always reach out to me individually if you have specific questions too. But it is powerful having those, because it helps us focus our energy. I mean, it's not so much the crystal, it does have its benefits and its healing properties, but it helps us focus our energy and intention on what we want to create. And that's why those tools are so powerful. So, okay, so energetically clearing words. Now, this is a really big one for me, and I'm actually going to share some scientific stuff with you guys. So this is from the guide. And this is from the work of Masaru Emoto. And I don't know, I know Crystal has heard me talk about him for years because he's one of my heroes. One of my best moments ever is I went to watch one of his talks in Minneapolis. He came to Minneapolis and everybody was getting his autograph, and I just wanted to hug him. Like, I just wanted his energy. I wish I'd had somebody snap a picture of me hugging him, but I was like, can I just hug you? I don't care about the autograph. I want to hug you. But anyway, what he did is he took bottles of water and he would put words on them, or he would speak words to them. And then he would take that water and he would freeze it and then take the frozen samples under a molecule to see what it looks like. And this image shows you. So the bottle that had the words "thank you" on it, look at how beautiful that is. It looks like this, magnificent or snowflake. And he was able to recreate this time and time and time again. If you guys really wanted to, I would look him up in a heartbeat because I have all of his books. Yeah, I love this man. Anyway, but two, if you look at it, like here, where the words "you make me sick," look at that. It looks like molten lava that you have in here. And so this again shows that power of your words and the energetic ability words have to transfer things at a molecular level. And so the other thing to think about is that our bodies are 70% water. So when we are going through our day doing that self-bashing that we tend to do as women, like, oh my God, I'm so fat, or I'm so stupid, or I'm an idiot, or the things that we say to ourselves that we would never let anyone say to our kids or our family or best friends, this is what it's doing to our molecules within our body, to the cells of our body. It is creating this negative energy, negative energy. I don't try to say that, but that low vibrational energy. And it's that low vibrational energy where disease begins, where illness begins, where things like that begin. And so, a quick, easy, super easy exercise. I have one in here, like a word list where you can really dive deep. But one of my favorite exercises to do is and you can get just a piece of Scotch tape and write the words that you want to bring into your body, that you want to focus on. Let's say you want to focus on gratitude, or you want to focus on strength, or you want to focus on being inspired. Put a piece of tape on your water bottle and write it on there and drink from that bottle, because it's going to energetically shift the molecules of that water. These are ones that I have, I can stop sharing now, that I made a bunch when I had my practice. I would give these to my clients where I etched words into it. So this is my inspired one that I keep at my desk when I need help with what clients work with the website. So, okay. Any other questions or comments? I feel like I'm going.
I just really
fast.
love, that always fascinated me. Yes, I loved it the first time you told me about it. And then, I used like, I'm not drinking that much anymore, but I literally would like, this is going to sound terrible, but I would literally go, I love you into my wine before I would drink it.
Mhm.
I'm not joking. And then I swear I didn't have quite as bad of a headache.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do that with myself all the time, no matter what I'm drinking. Like, I love you and I know you will love me back. I'm going
You're
to
so
love you well,
smart.
and
Yeah.
you're going to love me well back, and it's easier to do
Right.
it. So,
Yes.
yep.
It's just fascinating. And it's a really good point. We are made of mostly water. And we talk terrible things to ourselves. I mean, and those are, that's happening to us inside our bodies because of the things, not that other people are saying to us necessarily, but the thoughts we're thinking and the things we're telling ourselves. Because we are the meanest to ourselves, aren't we? We really are so mean to ourselves. And we don't just say it once or twice a day. We can beat up ourselves all freaking day long, right? Sometimes. So,
and we don't realize, honestly, until we really turn our focus onto it, we don't realize how much we do that. And then we all have those toxic family members that we can't move to the outer circle, that bless their hearts, they love us, but they are negative as hell and rude. And we take that on as well. And we, so, I mean, there's definitely things to do that. So focusing on your words, because you can decide how their words affect you, but you have to focus on your own words. And so that's a quick and easy way to shift that energy to what you want to feel, what you want to put into your body, and to help counteract those thoughts until you get better at managing them. And I don't think we'll ever be perfect at that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I still have negative thoughts, and I've been doing this work for about 13 years and it still sinks into me, even though I've been actively trying to release that.
Yeah.
So
how do you protect yourself from like family members or people that you're surrounded by all the time who say negative things, not necessarily about you, but just negative downer kind of people?
So I do, while I can't move them completely out of my inner circle, I do limit my time with those family members as much as possible. And then I try to schedule my time with them. Like, I don't ever just pop in to see them or anything, and I don't invite them to just pop in, because I need to prepare myself energetically to deal with them. And then I try to find things, for one, I try to laugh when they say things, and like my mom, she says all kinds of awful, horrible things sometimes. Bless that woman's heart. She really is. I love her dearly, but she pops off with some really awful, rude things, and I can't think of any of them right now because I don't hold on to them anymore.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I could have named a list of 20 things without even batting an eye, but now I don't hold on to them anymore. But when she says stuff, I just laugh at her half the time, and I'm like, and I'll be like, well, that was awfully snarky and rude. Just somebody needs to go and time out, or like I'll make a joke about it.
Right.
So that it kind of shifts the energy. So that's kind of my way, is to, make fun of them basically, but in a not such a mean way. Like, I don't want to return with ugly ones or yeah, or something. I don't know. That's kind of what I do, but it is a tough one. And with family members, I mean, we all have to kind of figure out what works for us. But I also will, my bonus mom, she can be extremely negative. And so I will just get up and be like, excuse me for a moment. And I'll just leave the room and let her have her moment, so I don't get mad. I don't respond. I don't get angry and irritated with her, or I try not to. I just remove myself from it. So
yeah. Okay. That's what I try to do too, is just not spend as much time with those people, even though you love them. That's hard.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes a matter of tough love. Like with my mom, her and I are close enough that when she's been very negative here in the last 6 months, and there have been a few times where I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry, but I just can't talk to you like this when you're like this. I love you so much, and I really hope you figure out a way to get over it, but I can't be this person for you right now. I'm going to have to let you go, And so she was mad and she was hurt, but she still called me 7 a.m. the next Saturday, and we had a lovely chat. So it all worked out.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So everything we're talking about, and I have one more, but everything we've been talking about is to energetically clear ourselves. And I want to point this out because, again, if we don't energetically clear ourselves, we cannot benefit those around us. We can't energetically clear a space effectively. We can't energetically clear food, relationships, anything. Because again, when we have this weighty, low vibrational crap hanging onto us, it's like mopping a floor with muddy water. It's just not going to accomplish anything. And so there's one more trick that I use to help shift the energy, and that is with music. And so I have a lot of playlists in Spotify that are based on how I want to feel and what I want to do. So I have a playlist that's my new day playlist that I play every morning. Honestly, it's kind of fun because I have Alexa in my room. And so I'm like, Alexa, start my day. And then the male voice comes forward and he's like, good morning, gorgeous. Are you ready for an abundant filled day? I'm like, yes, I am. And then he starts playing my new day playlist. So it's awesome, but that's what I start. And it's pretty much all Enya because that's just one of my real energetic clearing. It's one of my favorite artists. If I'm like really wanting to pump myself up for the day, like I have a big day ahead of me, I'm going to need a lot of energy. I have an energy playlist. I have one that I listen to most of the time when I'm working. That's just chill, something that's relaxed and easy because that's how I want my work day to feel. And so this music helps me feel relaxed and easy. I have them for, working out, for making dinner, when I want to feel romantic, and I'm hoping my husband will join me, all of those things. Like I listen to playlists. And so you guys can obviously go and create your own playlist, but in the guide, I shared my Spotify list if you want to listen to them. I will give a little disclaimer. I have a very eclectic, taste in music. It's all over the board. And I do really like gangster rap. I'm sorry, but that's just one of my things. So you're going to come across some of that. There's definitely some Eminem. And yeah. Anyway. So if you don't like those artists, look at the artist list before you dive into my playlist, because you may not want to hear them, but there's also other things like YouTube is a great place to get free music. And so I have some that I use for meditation and like bath time that helps with clearing away energy, enhancing self-love, healing and infection, happiness, vibes, that kind of stuff. And they're, just instrumental frequency-based music. So they base their frequency on the emotion that you're wanting to feel. And so I put some links in the guide for that as well.
So that's interesting. Can we talk about that for a minute? It's not something I've dived into a whole lot, but I do know that like, it's not about the words necessarily in the music. You can even play like this frequency music in the background and barely even hear it. And it really affects your emotions. It's all about the hertz or whatever, the frequency. And, so how do you find that kind of music other than I guess just doing a search and finding like, because there's like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, doing a search, like going into, release negative energy, release or increase happiness vibes. I want healing frequency music. Just typing in frequency music will give you a lot of results. Not all of them are good. Some of it honestly sounds like a cat on a tin roof. And like, I don't listen to those because it's not just the music, but it's how it makes you feel. And so like, for example, like I like gangster rock or, rap, and I also like hard rock. And it depends on how I want to feel. Last week, I was working on a website for a gym owner. And so I broke out my old weightlifting playlist and I'm listening to Rob Zombie and Metallica and stuff, because that's how I wanted to feel to produce a website that he was going to love, and I nailed it actually, by the way. So high five to me.
Woo!
I know he was very overwhelmed. He loved it. But yeah, so think about not just the words and the lyrics. Words have power, but how do they make you feel? And so when you're listening to that stuff, if a song, I don't care how positive the song is supposed to be or how wonderful it is, if it's not making you feel good, it's not raising your vibration. So really trust what you feel. Always, always trust what you feel. So, okay. So now we're going to talk about the home. And so there's a lot of things that you can do in your decor to bring energy clearing into the home all the time. And one of the things that I learned from a really good friend of mine, Susie, is she sets up these, she calls them altars or shrines or whatever, all over her house. And it doesn't look like some church shrine or altar, but she deliberately places things in certain places to create the feeling she wants in that room. And so I do the same thing, like my zones I showed you guys in a video a couple weeks, like I have a badass corner in my office because I want to remember that, you know, I've overcome a lot of odds and created a really powerful or cool business. And then it's going to continue to support me and pay for my retirement. And so there's all kinds of things we can work into decor. And so I've given you a couple here. Candles is one of them, you know, and it doesn't have to be an expensive candle. The intention of when you light the candle, that intention that you set can be really powerful. One of the things that I did when my daughter was getting married is we had a house full of people. So I had my mom and dad, who my mom is extremely negative right now, and I just really caught in a low vibration fear-based energy. My sister and her new husband, and my sister is very loud and obnoxious and outspoken. And my friend Molly, who is also very loud and obnoxious and outspoken, all staying in my roof, under my roof. And so I went to the dollar store and I got calm smelling candles and I lit them everywhere in the house. And when everybody's tension would start to get a little crazy, I would go light the candles and to kind of calm people down. They just thought I love candles, which I do love candles, but it was shifting the energy and it always calmed the mood and relaxed people. And so that's one of the things that I use. Crystals and stones, I have them all over my house. In fact, here's one of my favorite ones. This is a clear quartz that I found somewhere. I don't remember where.
Pretty.
Anyway, but it's just part of the decor. I have little bowls of stones that I put around the house. The little stone, like Nicole was showing us, I have those in my little bowl here in the office, and I have one in the bathroom. And sometimes I will carry one throughout the day to help me tap into the feeling or protection or whatever I want to capture. Those, I guess that's all I really said about those, but I do share some other crystals. And plants is another one. Sorry, plants is another one. So in the guide, I have some of my favorite stones, and I tell you what, like the cleansing protection properties are of that. You guys can take a look. Selenite is definitely one of my favorites. I have a huge selenite piece in front of the television because it helps with that chaotic energy. And so I use that because the TV is very chaotic, especially with some of the crazy war movies my husband watches. And when he watches those things, he sleeps like crap and he doesn't sleep good to begin with. And so I have that to kind of help buffer that chaotic energy when he's watching TV and stuff. Quartz, I have crystal quartz, like when you enter into my, or I have the pink rose quartz when you enter into my house through the garage, there's pink rose quartz because it's love. It brings out love and protection and comfort and all of that. What else? Sodalite is another one that really calms the mind and encourages rational thought. That I have all over our bedroom to help my husband because he's all over the place, you know, and he doesn't really tap into these things, although he is starting to understand it and embrace it a little bit more. So those are some of the things that I do with crystals, but then also plants. I love bringing plants into the home because not only do they help with the air and purification and all that, but they just help bring in a powerful energy. So aloe, I have in almost every room in the house, and aloe is one of those protection plants. And so it's all over the place and it grows like crazy here. The snake plants, you can see, I have one back there and I have one right there. I have them pretty all over the place. They help with persistence and happiness. And so, you know, in my business, I really need to be persistent to driving things and keeping it going. And I want to be happy doing it. So there are those things in there. Jade is another one, and these are pretty easy to care for plants typically. So jade, you really just ignore it for the most part, and it grows really well. And then when you're like, oh, maybe I should water it, then that's when you give it some love. But other than just sending it love when you walk by, you really don't do anything with it. And that really helps to decrease stress and uplift the mood. So those are some of my favorites. And then herbs are not as easy, but they also have some pretty powerful benefits as well. Growing herbs like basil is for luck and wealth and healing. Rosemary helps with low vibrational energy. It enhances the mood of the home, and it helps aid in dream work and calming your dreams. So those are some ideas there. Okay. Any questions on that stuff? Or comments or anything you guys want to share?
Kind of gonna see where you go next. Do you have something else you're gonna?
I found I'm in the Black Hills right now on a retreat. And I went to a crystal store in Spearfish, and she had all the pendants like on a rail, and I hated it because they were just all too close together and very difficult to look at. So I walked away from it because I said, I don't have the patience for this right now. But right before I left, I felt drawn to go back over and look at them. And I went straight for this one. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see it well or not.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But it's ruby zoisite.
Oh,
and so
cool.
Then I went and I looked that up, and so
That's
yes, and it's funny because I've been wearing it all day today, and all of the things that it said about it I'm feeling. So I think there's a lot of power in those, and having them around your house as well. I have quite a few around my house, like in altars, like you were mentioning, Teresa. So I think there's something to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Crystal, did you have something?
Yes. So the rose quartz. So I've got a little teeny tiny little rose quartz, and it's in the shape of a heart. So I actually have one for each one of you guys, and I have like intentionally like, this is Teresa. I love you, Teresa. So you're like, you guys are all sitting in a little dish here in front of my computer. So you're all represented here, right in front of me. So I see you every day. So
I love that.
yeah, and I think it's just all the intention that you put behind it. You can read a book and say that this is what rose quartz means and what it will do for you. But it's like you said, it just puts your focus in on the thing. And it just reminds me to pour love into you guys and to be grateful for you. So that's what these mean for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And the books and guides are really good because the more people that use rose quartz for love, the more it strengthens that energy of rose quartz and its loving meaning. But again, it's whatever it means to you is what's going to be most powerful. I've never seen I think one book I found where Rosemary helps with dream work and nightmares and things like that. I put it in the guide because I can hands down say that it's done that for me. But most people don't say that. So again, it's what works for you. And you just have to trust what you're feeling all the time because it's all intention of what you're doing, you know? Yeah. So, okay. So then tools. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the different tools, and there's so many things out there that you can do to clear the energy. And the one that most people think about is like smudging. And that's the act of burning some kind of a dry natural element that shifts the energy. Now, here's one of the things that a lot of people don't think of. Most people will immediately go to sage, and this is a sage sweetgrass, which I actually don't like this one. It has a weird energy, and so I'm gonna go toss it out in the yard and let it go to the wind. But sage is one of those a lot of people go to, and I do like sage, but sage invites in energy. And here's where it can kind of mess people up, because if your intentions are not very clear, if you are focused on having an awful day and you use sage to clear yourself while you're thinking of an awful day, you are bringing in awful day energy because sage brings in energy. It's often is used, a lot of times people talk about using it for spiritual work and things like that. And like in the native culture around here, they use it to speak with their ancestors and stuff like that. but they also realize it can bring in other energies that they don't want to talk to. So intention is really, really powerful. And so sage is not one that I actually use all that often, although I do have it and there's benefit because it does invite energy in. I don't typically use that one. Sweetgrass. Well, I don't have my sweetgrass with me. Usually looks like a blade of sweetness. That just helps lift the mood. And so if you're going to utilize sage, I would close things off with sweetgrass, or Palo Santo is my favorite one. And this is a wood. It comes from a tree in Mexico. It has to be harvested in a specific way. Like you can't go and chop off a branch of a Palo Santo tree. The branch has to release from the tree naturally. It has to dry naturally, and then it's harvested that way. It smells amazing. I love the smell. It always makes me feel good. But this one is what I do. And this is the one that I use the most because this is full on protection. It really helps with protection. And all that you do, where's my lighter? So I have this little nub. When I'm getting ready to do a client meeting, I want to protect the meeting. I want it to go well for both of us. I want that intention that we're both being served. So I have this little nub at my desk, and you just light it. And it typically doesn't flame. It'll just smolder. And then you can use that to kind of clear the air. And you can wave it around. I will, if I'm really cleansing, we'll talk about that a little bit. Like I'll slowly wave it in a room and say some prayers of intention of what I want. Or I'll just light it and let it go. See, it's already burned out. If you ever light one and it like really flames up, it's burning off some serious low vibrational energy. So I just let it burn out naturally as long as it's safe. And it'll burn out within a minute or so. But I have had to do that. So those are the things. And there's other things that you can buy. I just bought a new sage stick that has, I'll have to post a picture of it, that has like the rainbow colors of flowers and stuff. That's really cool and beautiful. I got from my favorite store here. There's all kinds of different things that you can do, but those are the three main ones. And like I said, the Palo, you can get this relatively inexpensive and it lasts forever. I think I've had this little nub probably for about 8 years. So
Oh goodness.
it lasts forever. Okay, so there's that. Then essential oils is another one that you can use, and all essential oils have frequency properties and things like that. If you've ever been associated with Young Living, there's a fabulous book that talks about their oils, and it gives you the frequency properties and a lot in that book. It's a really great resource guide, but you can use oils by diffusing them, or I don't have my little mist spray with me. I had one in here, or just making a mist spray with your essential oils. And that's another way that you can do smudging that will help clear that energy without having to burn something. Some people don't like the scent of burning sage and palo and things like that. And so that's another way, is utilizing essential oils to do it. Now, my two favorite oils that I use, and there's no membership required, is Acacia and Rocky Mountain. They both have really performed well in third-party testing, and they're often a lot less expensive than the membership sites like Young Living and doTERRA. And so,
can you say the name of those again, Teresa?
Yep, it's Acacia. So it's AURACACIA, which you can actually buy on Amazon, and Rocky Mountain. And they're in the guide. I listed them in the guide. Those are the two favorite ones that I use. They're really just really good quality oils. You don't have to have a membership or know a seller to buy them. You can order, Acacia from Amazon. And yeah, so it's good.
Thank you.
Yep. Some other things for energy clearing tools. So incense is another one that you can use. Some of my favorites are like sandalwood, which is healing and comfort, frankincense, which is for intuition and prayer, jasmine for happiness and joy, and then cedarwood is strength and determination. You can also buy resin. So you can get like a frankincense or myrrh resin. It's this little, it looks almost like a soft rock. And those I use for a bath. If you take like a tablespoon and put it in a tea bag, like those tea bags you can fill yourself, and put that in the bath and then just soak in the tub, you're going to have one of the best baths of your life. But you want to put it in a tea bag, because once it gets hot, it starts to melt a little bit and then it sticks to the stub or the tub, and then you're like chiseling it out and it's not fun. So there's that. And then the pendulum. So here's a cool trick I wanted to show you guys. And this you can do, Crystal, if you're going to drink next time you decide you want to have a glass of wine, if you decide to go there again, is you can remove the negative or low vibrational energy from your drink. So here's my tea that I made. I have to do it on another one. Okay, so I'm just going to intend that it removes that low vibration energy. And just let it go until it stops on its own. And then I intend to put love and light into the tea, and it usually spins, yep, the other direction. Okay, thank you.
Now, do we need a pendulum for that, or like would our necklace work?
Your necklace will work. So this
Okay.
right here, this necklace I wear almost all the time. It is my go-to pendulum when I'm not carrying, because I don't carry a pendulum around. Like I have one at my desk and I have one on my nightstand. But your necklace will work. Anything with, you want about a 6-inch string with something that will spin, something that's weighted
Okay.
down. You could even do a washer on a string if you wanted to. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Again, it goes back to intention. Everything is all about intention. So that's another thing. And then the other one, last one that I want to mention here is feathers. Feathers are really great at moving energy. So when you're doing your palo or something like that, you can use the feather to kind of move the energy to kind of clear if you want to do that. I like natural feathers best, but if you find one that's really fun and happy and it makes you feel happy, then go with it. It's fine. But we have, like, I have pheasant feathers that my husband brought home from a hunting trip. That's what I use is those. So, yep. Okay. Any questions about tools or anything like that? And we're at 7 o'clock. And so I don't know, I don't want to like keep you guys too long. So
Teresa, I have a question on furniture placement and rearranging furniture.
Mhm.
I look at a lot of feng shui things for in the room and all that. And I know I tend to have too much in a room, but I also like my too much most of the time. But my husband's going to be gone this week. So it's been my intent that I'm going to do a lot of energy clearing, rearranging and things. But how do we determine the best feel for our rooms?
Trust your heart, honestly, like totally trust what you feel. And the thing of it is when we're in alignment, when our energy is high, our vibrations are high, we feel blissful, we feel happy, we feel joy, we want to laugh for no reason. When we're feeling a little bit anxious or nervous or irritated, like we know that. We can try and convince ourselves that we're not feeling that way, but we know that. And while I really am I love feng shui, but I often do things that do not match with what feng shui recommends because it's what feels good. And a good example here is like, this is my office and that's the door. And like it says in your office, put yourself in a position of power. Totally agreed with that when I was in a corporate job and I had to, share my authority in that position. When I had this office set up that way, it created a challenge with my husband and it created problems with the two of us. And he almost felt like I didn't need him or that I was trying to push him out or, something like that. Like it was a really awful feeling. As soon as I brought him into the mix and had him help me, he built my desktop and I set it to where my back is to the door and I have a place for him to sit if he wants to chat. All of that went away. So while in feng shui, my office is set up totally wrong, it's exactly right. And since I have done this, like my business has gone so much better and smoothly. And there's a lot of things that built into that, but I feel that the office part of that is part of that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions for Teresa?
I'll toss in a couple other things. Let me toss in 2 more things because we didn't get through everything, but I just want to say in the guide, it talks about doing energetically clearing your food, how to clear your space and all of that. If you guys have any questions, like feel free to reach out to me. I love this work. I love doing it. And would be more than happy to just answer any of those questions. So yes. Claire, I talked too much.
No, you didn't. That was perfect. And I do have a question. I'm noticing that in our living room and kitchen area, the heart of the home, so the heart of my home, we have lots of static electricity going on. The dog is shocking everybody. Rob just shocked himself when he turned the light on down there. So what is that about? Because I mean, go ahead.
So I don't know what is creating the static and energy. I mean, it could be a lot of things, but what I would say is that in that case, when you're feeling that and you want to shift the energy and clear it, I would not add fire to it because static is already fire. I would add water. So I would get a mist diffuser or make a mist with a little spray bottle and some essential oils. And I would try diffusing with water to settle that static energy versus adding fire to it.
Okay. I've had a candle burning all day today and I've had the fireplace on yesterday. So,
So get one of, and you can get like just a little cheapy, water mist diffuser if you want and add that to the room.
Okay, very good. Okay, that's helpful.
Teresa, do the Himalayan rocks, are they supposed to do, the Himalayan rocks?
Yes. Salt is very good. Yeah, salt is very clearing energetically. And I didn't even talk about salt, but it's very clearing energetically. It's also very grounding. So if we're feeling a little bit spacey, if we're feeling a little bit disconnected from our home, disconnected from our purpose, like I will even sprinkle salt in my coffee sometimes in the morning to give me that grounded feeling. But yes, absolutely. Those Himalayan salt rocks are really good. And they're good for protection as well. I actually, with my clients before, I often would utilize those for kids' rooms because kids are just so afraid. They're in this big, scary world and they're not, and I don't believe in censorship, but I do think age appropriateness happens and kids see a lot more that terrifies them than we realize. And so salt is one of those things my clients would use for protection and to calm their kiddos.
Okay.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Also,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just wanted to share with you guys. I thought it was interesting. Somewhat recently, I was on Instagram and Leanne Rhymes, and she has kind of a side business thing where she creates her own candles. I don't know if any of you have heard of that, but you can look it up and I think it's Soul of Everly or something, but you can find it via hers. And she has different candles with different names and she will sing in a frequency over them.
Very,
so
very cool.
Burn, I mean, they are not cheap. I've not purchased one, but they look really cool.
So here you could get a dollar store candle and find the word that taps into that frequency and just put it on the candle. You can do that too.
Okay.
Not to say don't go buy one of hers because I'm sure that they're incredibly powerful, but you, like I said, you don't have to buy the expensive stuff to tap into frequency. You literally can use Scotch tape, dollar store candles, and cheap water bottles. So,
and do you think it's more powerful if you do it yourself anyway, as opposed to buying it from someone else that has blessed something or added?
It's all about intention. It is all about intention.
So whatever you think.
It's what you think. And so like, for example, for this one, this was given me to by someone here locally. She gave it to me. I don't remember why. And I've had it for a while, but it's never felt good. I also know this person, she is in business to do energy work, but she doesn't have very good intentions. Her intentions are to be the best and to manipulate other people out of the business. And so even though this is like sweetgrass, and I mean, it was made by local people, and I mean, like, there's so many reasons why this should be wonderful. It is an awful energy. And every time I burn it, it increases anger inside of me. And so that's why I'm going to go and just release it out into the earth because it doesn't serve me. I found it in my office cleanup this month. So
there you go. Time to release it.
Time to release it. So yeah, it's all about the intention. So it's the intention of the person. And even so, like, you can purchase some things. There's a store I went to recently and they had some selenite that had just awful energy. And they actually have a singing bowl at the counter. And so I took one of the pieces of selenite and said, can you clear this? And they did the singing bowl because it's attuned to a certain frequency. And then all of a sudden it wasn't. Like, it actually made me dizzy. It was such an awful energy. It made me dizzy. It was crazy. So again, intention is everything. Yeah.
Very cool.
So
thank you so much. So much information. And it's just, I mean, because it's, you know, maybe all of this may be new to you. So I'll post the guide and make sure that you guys get the guide that she created for you with all the information. And then you know, she is a web designer, but she does this also too on referrals, right? So you'd be happy to take anybody in the club as a client if you would like to work with her on things. Yeah. And yeah, she's just very intuitive and in sync with things and knows things. Like she said that sometimes she doesn't want to know, but yes, it just fascinates me. So, and we all have the capability to do this. I prefer not to, like, as far as like the level that Teresa can do it. There are things that I just think that I honestly am like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes. So if you allow yourself to open up to it, though, you can tap into it. So anyway, so maybe you can, like, if you're interested, she can help you tap into that, or she can just help clear things for you. Yeah. I've been feeling really personally too, very icky the past week. And I think, you know, so I need to do some clearing myself also, and actually decluttering my kitchen and cleaning out my refrigerator. To me, that's almost like energy Reiki clearing too.
It is absolutely physically cleaning. Yeah. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. I know, but that's one of the things I talk about, and is before you energetically clear a room, you want to physically clean it, because all that clutter has energy, all of it.
Yes.
And so you want to physically clean it, and then
Yes.
and then go in and do the
So it all matters, and it makes me
super
feel
powerful.
better. And then the one thing that I thought that was really important that you said is that if you are going to do this and energetically clear a room or something, or put good thoughts out there, you can't do that if you're all muddied. So you got to take care of yourself first, right? Your heart and your head, and clean all that stuff out. And then you can take care of all the other stuff. Yeah. So what's something that we can do? I think probably the breath, right? Doing the breath that you taught us before we declutter our homes, maybe before you start an organizing project, maybe just do that quickly, like do those 3 breaths and like get grounded. And because I could immediately feel it when I did it. So
yeah, I do that breath. I mean, I lose count how many times I do it. I do it to start my day. I do it if I start feeling tense or irritated. I do it if my husband's being a pain in the butt. If, you know, like last week, I don't know if it was a dog or a cat, but somebody took a poop on my flip-flop. I did that breath. Because, I mean, and they aimed good. They did not get the straps. They just got anyway, I did that breath because I was annoyed. So
that's annoying.
I do it all the time because it immediately just shifts things for me. And the more you do it, the more powerful it becomes. The more that your body all of a sudden is like, oh, she's going to do that thing. She's going to do that thing that makes me feel good. And it starts shifting before you even take that first breath.
Yes. I can't believe someone pooped on your flip-flop.
Oh my God. Now I'm laughing about it, but because there was like this perfect little pile right there underneath the straps, but none got on the strap.
Oh my gosh. So it was very intentional.
I think it was. We had some words.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, on that note.
I have a quick poop story. Our new puppy, when we got her, one of her first poops was a perfect heart shape.
Oh, because she loves you.
Heart shape. So it's like, well, this is the dog. Here we are.
Yeah.
She loves you. That's what she was saying.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's funny. So cute. Yes. Okay, ladies, I'll let you guys go then and have a great